Hello students, in this lesson I'm going to demonstrate how to solve a system of linear equations by using the elimination method. But before that we need to practice on some prerequisite skills, and that is finding the least common multiple of some numbers. So for example, to find the least common multiple of 3 and 4, for this example, I'm going to list the multiples of each number. So right here, I was missing the 6, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And then the multiples of 4, 4, 8, 8, 12, 16, 20. I think that's right. Now, what will be the least common number between among these numbers right here? I can see that this one has 12 and this one has 12. So the least common multiple here will be 12, right? Now, if you look at the numbers, also 3 times 4 is 12. And in that case, multiplying those two numbers work to get the LCM because there is nothing in common there. These are not factors of each other, or you can think about these are not multiples of each other. What I mean by that, for example, look at the second example. A is a multiple of 2 because 2 times 4 is 8. So these numbers have something in common. So when that happens, you don't want to multiply these numbers because you might say if I just multiply the numbers and I can find the LCM. That only works when though that pair, that number don't have anything in common. Okay, so for this one, if you say that the LCM is 16, we can check. Okay, we can check this one, but I want you to see something. I'm going to list again the numbers here: 2, 4, 6, I'm skipping again, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. And then I'm going to list the multiples of 8: 16, 24, 32. Okay, notice that we have 16 right here. You might say, okay, there it is. But 16 is not the smallest common number. Actually, the smallest common number is 8. So this is not right. The least common multiple will have to be 8. Okay, why? Because 8, there is no other number bigger than the number itself. Oh, I'm sorry, there is no other number smaller than the number itself. So A will have to be the least common multiple because A is a multiple of 2 as well. Okay, so I hope that you understand that part. Here's another example. This is another good example. For example, we always look at the bigger number to check if there is anything in common between the two numbers. So in this one, 24 is a multiple of 6 because 6 times 4 is 24. So before I multiply these numbers, I want to check that the bigger number will be a part of the smaller number, which is, it's a multiple. So the least common multiple for this one will be that number 24. Okay, I hope that you are getting that part. Now let's look at this one. Is there anything in common between these two numbers? Are they multiple of each other? If we look at the bigger number is 7, can we multiply 5 by a number to get 7? No way, right? That wouldn't, there is no number that will give you 5 times a number that will give you, at least not an integer that will give you a multiple of 7. So because they don't have anything in common, right here we can do it like the first one, like we multiply 3 times 4. Right here we can do the same. We can multiply 5 times 7 to get the least common multiple. Okay, so that will be 5 times 7 is 35. And now let's look at the next one. Look at the bigger number. The bigger number is 9. 9 is 9 a multiple of 1? Yes, because 1 times 9 is 9. So that one was easy. It was just 9. Okay, so I'm gonna let you try the next three. This one, and this one. And the other thing that we need to practice on is finding these zero pairs. So what do I mean by these zero pairs? A zero pair is basically just the sum of two numbers that add up to zero. Okay, the sum of two numbers that add up to zero. So for example, -2 plus 1 numbers add up to 0. It will have to be +2, right? Why? Because this is the same thing as writing 2 minus 2, which is 0. Okay, and if this is why this add up to 0, because the 2 right here is positive. All I did was to flip the signs. Another example could be 10, -10 plus 10 also add up to 0. Okay, so notice that we dealing with the same number, but the opposite sign makes the sum as 0. Okay, and this is some vocabulary that we're gonna be using. So a zero pair must have the same coefficient. What is that? Coefficient means the same number in front of the variable. Okay, so let me write this down. Coefficient means the same, the number in front of the variable. And same variable, well, that will be the letters XX or YY or AA. Any letter that the equation would have, then that's what we mean by same variable. Opposite signs, one must be positive, one must be negative. Okay, so this is the conditions to make a zero pair. Let's look at some examples. Right here we have the -6x plus 6x. Let's check the conditions. Do they have the same coefficient, that number in front of the variable? Yes, 6. Do they have the same variable? Yes, xx. Do they have the opposite sign? One is negative, one is positive. So yes, when we add these two numbers, they basically cancel out, or we can say they add up to 0. Okay, what about this one right here? 2x plus 2x is 4x. That is not 0. So what I want to do is, if it's not a zero pair, then we have to make it a zero pair. We gotta fix it. So the problem right here is that both of them are positive. So I want to make this one a negative, and to do that, I must multiply this by a -1. That way, a negative times a positive will give me this -2x. And I'm gonna bring this over here. Now I have 2x plus -2x. I have right here 0, right? I have 0 right here. Okay, and this one is similarly to that one. The problem is the sign, so I'm gonna let you try this. Just multiply by -1 to make this positive. Okay, you can also try this one. You can try that one. Let me work on the last two to show you real quick right here. So the problem right here is that we don't have the same coefficient. This number must be the same. So when it's not the same, that's when we're gonna use the LCM, the least common multiple. Okay, and this one, 3 and 5, is not right there, but the least common multiple, since these two numbers have nothing in common, will be multiplying the two numbers. So the LCM for these numbers will be 15. Now to get 15, I have to multiply this number by 3 and this number by 5, right? But both of them are positive, so remember one must be negative. So multiply either one of them has to be negative. So this one will be 15x and this one will be -15x. Now this is what I want. Opposite sign, same coefficient, same variable, add up to 0. Okay, similarly on the last one, we need to have the same coefficient. So right here, 10 is a multiple of 5. So all I have to do is multiply this number by what to get 10? It will have to be by 2. So I will get -10x and bring this one over here, 10x. So when I add these numbers, one negative, one positive, I will get 0. And that's what I want.